Good morning and welcome all on day two of second APAC High EdTech and Innovation Conclave. Yesterday, we had power-packed panel discussions on the role of government and the future education, world-class digital campuses, NEP, and such other important topics. Before moving towards the day two, or the first panel discussion of day two, let us thank all our industry partners. Technology partner Microsoft, display partner Samsung, digital transformation partner Avaya, gold partner Yash Technologies, credential partner True Scholar, and associate partner Intercept. Let us start with the first panel discussion of the day. The first panel discussion is exploring trends in upskilling, mentoring, and employability and industry academy partnership. Before we dive into this particular panel discussion, let me first introduce to all the eminent panel members who are joining this particular discussion. We have Mr. Kuwa Shekhar Vijendra, Chancellor, Shobhit University. We welcome you, sir. Then we have Dr. Rupa Vasudevan, Chancellor, BEST Innovation University. Welcome, ma'am. We have Dr. R.S. Wawa, Pro-Chancellor, Chandigarh University. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
We have Dr. Anubha Singh, Vice-Chancellor, Alliance University. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
We have Mr. Arunabh Verma, Founder and CEO of Intercell Virtual Mentor Network. Welcome, sir. Last but not the least, we have Mr. Aditya Barelia, Co-Promoter, APJ Education. Welcome, sir. Now, I would like to hand over this particular discussion to the moderator.
Thank you so much, Neha. A very warm welcome to all of our esteemed panelists. I know each and every one of you is extremely passionate about this subject, so I'm looking forward for a very robust discussion. The format is what I'd love is for each of you to share in the order I see the panels in front of me. For 5 minutes, what you really see, perhaps a future gaze, given the context of NEP, given the context of a post-COVID world, we are seeing a completely change in how we define 21st century skills, the way we work, how we see societies, countries grow, and of course, the greater context of everything that's happening in terms of peace and security. What do you think are, in your mind, the most important trends in this space? And I'd like to start off, and I request humbly for everyone to keep to 5 minutes. Being the moderator, I will apologize in advance. I will try to make sure everybody's on time. So I ask your forgiveness in advance for that. If I could start with Dr. Anuba Singh, ma'am, would love to hear your thoughts. 5 minutes. Where do you see, or what do you see are the most important trends, or perhaps, if you'd like, the most important challenges?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm very happy to be here, esteemed panelists, today. It's a very important topic, as the current trends, what's happening in the industry as well as academia. Just to give you a quick brief, the strong and deep-rooted foundation of academic institution, especially those which are offering professional or vocational courses, is built over the years by virtuous achievements of based on the amazing industry partnerships that institutions foster, primarily because the critical role of industry when it comes to academic licensing is very important to address the world's biggest scientific challenges. Whatever it takes for an industry academic collaboration actually depends on the industry trend. It drives the innovation in university education. It creates a sustainable model for world-class university industry collaboration. Specifically, I would say that certain trends, as that's what you want to know, uh, the industry is in continuous demand for graduates, especially with interdisciplinary profiles. And there is an immense need for professionals with broader knowledge, but at the same time, more specialized skill sets as well than ever before. So, on one side, broader knowledge. On one side, very specialized skills. To give you one instance or one example, it would be, for example, let's say additive manufacturing. Though we talk about Industry 4.0 in a very broad way, but it's too broad to pin down to a particular skill. So let's say if we take additive manufacturing on a plain English or common language 3D printing, there is immense potential to revolutionize India's manufacturing and industrial production landscape. Well trained engineers, well trained management graduates, well trained technicians are critical to maximize this technology. I'm just using one example here to explain, and like that, there's so many. So, in addition, it demands new skills and capabilities, both technical and managerial. Yet, many of these innovations have outplaced the ability of broader, skilled workforce to adapt. As a result, to pin down on one statement on what is the trend or what is happening, there is a shortage of skilled workers, a shortage that impacts quality, innovation, and growth. And as educators, as academic leaders, that is something we need to focus.
Thank you so much, Ji. And I think that sets a very broad context as well as a very specific context, as you rightly said about skilling and the needs. I think our skill shortages still continue, and what is great that everybody's here is sort of committed to trying to address that. If I can move on to Dr. Gajendra, sir, for your quick opening remarks.
Thank you very much, Aditya. It's indeed a pleasure to be here on second hour EdTech Innovation Conclave. The topic of the day, as it has been discussed already, Dr. Anubhav has elaborated. When we look at all these things in the light of NEP or skills, reskilling, unskilling, what relations industry and academia should have, how we can do, three things are very important what we need to understand. And I'm sure that today's deliberation will bring to that direction also. The one is that we have to understand that what is the role of educational institutions at large. The role of educational institution is creation of knowledge. And when we create knowledge, then industry comes with us and to integrate knowledge with the application, with the new research, with the other technologies, whatever are coming. And once the knowledge is integrated, then application comes. Application is for the society at large. So in all three steps, we need different type of skill sets. We need the integration of the technology, and industry has to come in between. Because if I say that a university has to create knowledge, university has to understand what the industry or the society needs. So innovation starts from understanding, from awareness. It means right from the day one, industry has to be there as one of the partners. Second thing, what is happening, we all understand that under NEP, we are talking a lot of things, and we appreciate that also on different platforms. But the fact remains that industry and academia, they are not natural partners. They are trying to be business partners. When I need them, I go to them. When they need us, they sponsor us. So we have to become very natural partners, like life partners in this ecosystem. That without you, I cannot survive. Without me, you will not survive. And that hand holding has to start from day one. Because what is happening, every technology, I believe, has a shelf life. Every skill has a shelf life. So it means every day something new has to be done together to ensure that all those aspirations what are there from educational institutions, be it research, be it innovation, be it even nowadays ranking and other things, we have to come together in that direction. And to come in together, as I mentioned, that a natural partnership has to be there, and how that natural partnership can be there. One, that in every research lab, industry has to come and say that I have CSR money, please take it. This is my agenda, and please help me out. Second, universities have to understand that placement is a byproduct. First is creation of quality knowledge and the human resource. It means university has to go to MSME first. Instead of looking for big brands and names, they have to go to the neighborhood industries, because a local impact has to be there. They have to go to those university industries, and they have to ask what are the issues, what are the, I can help you in capacity building, how we can come together where both will work together and do something which is impactful for the society also. So these things need to be developed. I am happy that during this COVID time, these opportunities were more. Like at least I can say about Shobit University that we decided to handle local industry. We decided that during COVID time, many of them were struggling to survive. We said, okay, you bring your issues to us. We will give you a solution where with minimum human resource, you can do the things. With the minimum technology, you can do wonders. And when this thing will start, then the impact of all these things will be there. And as tech partners are there, technology is there, definitely they are a wonderful support system. We cannot remain with them only, or we cannot say that today education depends on them. Yes, they can support education to be delivered in a better way. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your opening remarks. Ji. I think what something which I love, which you've put, industry and education institutions need to move from a transactional phase to a more codependent phase. I think that's a point very well made. Although I'm very sad to note that we've been talking about industry academia interface for 2-3 decades, at least as far as back as I can remember, and I think all of us have made extraordinary strides. But I think your words just showcase the great aspirations and the great possibilities that we still face as we really try to go through a more solid ecosystemic integration. If I could, sir, call upon Dr. Bawa, would love to get your opening remarks.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, I think if we look at the university industry relationship or industry academia relationship, we should look at slight history of growth of industry and research. To talk about Industry 1.0, which was based on steam power only. Industry 2.0 was mechanical power, electrical joining them. Industry 3.0, electronics coming into play its role. And Industry 4.0, now all automation along with computerization and everything based on computer chips. The point that I want to make is who gave these technologies? Not the industry. These technologies came from individual researchers or educational institutions. Although educational institutions were not as powerful or as organized during the first two phases of Industry 1.0 and 2.0. But Industry 3.0, I think we have now formal educational institutions all across the world. To my mind, there are three areas. We cannot have straight away one-to-one relationship with the industry. Okay, we are partners, so whatever you do, we do, or whatever we do, you do. Three distinct areas. Number one, we have to train our faculty to learn from industry and deliver what the industry wants to our students. This will involve involving the industry in design of curriculum, number one. Number two, training of our faculty on the floor and in new technologies. I can give you a concrete example. When we started cloud and big data and information security in 2014, we didn't have faculty. So IBM came to our rescue in some areas. Subsequently, Cognizant came to our rescue. A lot of training of faculty took place, FDPs and all those kind of things. And subsequently, we became self-dependent. We involve the industry in our designing of curriculum, all the areas, not only engineering, even biotechnology, pharmacy, whatever it is, industry comes in. The second area is, as suggested by some of the friends, to solve some of the problems of the industry, maybe our neighborhood, maybe some other industry. Now, this is an area which is very tricky. Most of the industries would not like to share their problems straight away. not with everyone. They will not tell what technology they are working with, what are their problems. So it has to be a very intricate relationship with some industry, and only then they will share with you what their problems are. And maybe they will share with you without sharing with you the some of the confidential material. But this is possible, and this is going on in some universities, less in India, more in foreign countries, where they have established centers in the name of industry where they work. For example, MAD, for example, different car models, even Rolls Royce, and all those kind of things, developing new engines. Now, the third area is where I think we should concentrate more. That is leading the industry, providing the industry some new products, some new processes, and some innovations, which has been going on during Industry 1.0 and 2.0. And from electrical to electronics is not the job of the industry, it's the job of the universities. Individual researchers, they came out with technologies. From electrical to electronics, they moved. And from electronics to computer very quickly. And now the things, as we know, as we witness, the things are moving very fast. So the university must not lose its focus on seminal research, some new research areas which may not have immediate application. And centers of excellence must be created. Each university should not try to excel in all fields. It is not possible. I can say with all humility that even Harvard, they cannot excel in all areas. Even Stanford, they cannot excel in all areas. So is we people, we cannot excel in all areas. So we must excel in a few areas. Maybe somebody can pick up artificial intelligence, its application to agriculture. Somebody can pick up its application to industry, and so on and so forth. So university, if they focus on this, and we as a university have tried these things, and if you visit us, you will find an example of all the three, where industry is involved in curriculum design, in training of faculty, in setting up. We have 29 industry-sponsored labs on the campus, but then they are separate. Our center of excellence has nothing to do with that. Our center of excellence is different, where we have filed 1,300 patents, and we are working on that so that we provide some new products and new technology to the industry. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Baba. I take two very important points from you. One, of course, is the continual need for faculty development and industry's key role in that. I love the example you gave of AI/ML cloud. We have seen this time and time again, particularly in Indian institutions, where often universities and colleges and all across the country are more following industry than leading it. And our faculty need a lot of help and support in truly being upgraded. But this is not an India problem. We will see this all across the world, where we have to find a great way for either individual universities to lead industry, or or if industry has established leadership. One of the interesting things we've seen, the R&D budgets of individual companies all across the world is now astounding. And this is also a sort of a hallmark of industry 4.0. I think never in the history of mankind have we seen so much money being spent by industry on individual projects, research, trying to solve great problems. Something which was historically left to universities, many of them are trying to go on their own. And I think creating that partnership of trust, as Dr. Baba mentioned, where we can transfer a lot of the wins that industry has made back into academia as well. So that in many cases we're not reinventing the wheel. Obviously, that trust has to be made.
I think there's a internet drop for Aditya. Yeah, I think Aditya is coming back online. Yeah. Hello, Dr.
Aditya, are you
Medrush. Nice to meet you.
okay? So, as Aditya is not there, shall I request Dr. Rupa Vasudevan to share her views? by the time he
Yeah,
joins the call.
should I jump in with your
Yes,
permission, sir? With your
no,
permission.
sometimes it
So,
is required when we are
so
on.
I think I think I'm going for a more fundamental aspect of what is 21st century learning exactly. And I've been talking about this to my faculty, to my students, and I think now we have a huge spectrum when we say 21st century learning, or when we say the new age knowledge systems. It is not only industry, academia, skills, collaboration, experiential learning, all these jargons that we speak about. I think it encompasses a whole lot of many other things as well. So when it comes to the foundational knowledge, we as educationists, as enablers of knowledge, have to provide now, other than the core content or the knowledge and the bird's eye view of the academic course that we used to offer, we have added now cross-disciplinary, transdisciplinary, multidisciplinary knowledge. Now, this is the knowledge aspect of it. And the third very important thing, digital ICT literacy for every student. Other than understanding the skills, the use of digital tools, which can make learning more humanistic, more which can make it more better for the students. The second aspect that we saw in that is a part of our education system is the humanistic knowledge, where we speak about how culturally ground we are, what is the history, what is the culture of from where you belong, which is equally important according to me. The emotional awareness of what you are, and the ethical aspects of everything that we do. Uh, the and with, of course, the job and life skills, which also I would like to push into the humanistic aspect of the 21st century skills. The third and the most important, where I think we had a setback because of the COVID pandemic, could be the meta knowledge aspect, which primarily consists of the creativity, the innovation, the collaboration aspects, the problem solving, the critical thinking aspects, and basically the communication, the one to one communication aspect. Now, when I define these as my 21st century skills, what is it that we're looking at, from a university? Other than, all these skills that we present, because these type of skills can be presented only with collaboration. And we all know the workplace right now and forever, it has changed because of the gig economy. It's expected to take over services jobs shortly. It does not require a master's degree, and now we are seeing there's so much happening in the digital learning space in the UGC, and we're seeing so many webinars that are happening, where our master's degree or a bachelor's degree is going to be of a very, very limited value. And what is going to enhance a student's job readiness is, or an entrepreneurship readiness, is primarily his skills, his willingness, his work for anyone, anywhere, anytime kind of an attitude. So I think for all this to come in, we need a lot of stakeholders. It's not only industry, it's industry academia, it's industry agencies, it's industry NGOs, it industry technology forums, it's industry edutech, academia edutech. I mean, wherever I said industry, it's basically, yeah, academia has to reach out to different stakeholders to bring in the 21st century skills that we call the new age skills. Now, industry academia, especially here, becomes extremely important, because while industry often focuses on addressing solutions that are of near term commercial value, the academia is focusing on building the new knowledge through research, imparting education to the students. And this combination, I believe, can yield an accelerated development of new breakthroughs for any student, and for the academia in general. Having said that, we need to work on the India's stance on the conversion of research basically into market deliverables. So that's another thing that we need to, and that's where technology, that's where the industry plays a very important role. So I would like to look at not silos, I would like to look at the 21st century skills in general, the humanistic, the meta, as well as the core knowledge. So, this is what I believe is important today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vasudevan, and thank you so much, Mr. Vinjal, for taking over while my brief internet sputter sort of snapped back. If it
Maybe.
happens again, I promise I'll be back in a few seconds. Um, I love one of the big things you said, Dr. Rupan, and that is on attitude. And I think that is fundamentally something we don't talk about enough when we talk about the 21st century requirements for skilling. And as someone who also spends a lot of time in school education, I think that is something we in the higher education people have to deal with. Of the failings of having a very differential attitude of students that come in. One of the big things for 21st century skilling is that desire of attitude, that self-determination, desire to learn, willing to work anywhere, do anything, really grasp that. And unfortunately, by the time we get the students into higher education, most of their attitude, behavior, desire, personality is already set.
It's
Now,
concretized. Yes.
absolutely right. And I know, and I quite frankly I've always hated the term, this personality development so-called programs, that which is more of sort of I would say finishing school, rather than a personality development that a lot of universities and all have to run, is no substitute for 14 plus years of school education that have happened behind, that have set the right tone and tenor for what 21st century learning and 21st century attitudes and behaviors have to be. So thank you so much for that. If I can hop to Dr. Varma. Uh, uh,
No, I'm not a doctor. My father is one,
oh,
but I'm just
Mr.
a
Varma, then
non-doctor.
fair enough.
Yeah,
By
I don't
the
know.
way,
It's
so
fine.
I am
Yeah.
also Mr. Burlia. People often accidentally call me Dr. Burlia, but when it's an august gathering of academics, I I I err on the side of
Sure.
calling
Sure.
doctor.
Perfect.
Please, Mr. Verma,
Sure.
your thoughts
You,
quickly. I
you,
know
you can call me Arunab. Arunab is
Dr.
fine. Yeah.
Sharma has also joined, so we'll come to you right after.
Sure.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, everyone, for this great insight on your introduction thoughts. See, to be honest, I'm from the corporate world completely. As in, my last job was at BMW. I was handling their brand digital transformation for India and APAC region. This was 4 5 years back. And the reason why I started Intercell was because I went through a journey. I'm from a non-Ivy League college myself. I went through a journey when I completed my MBA many years back. The only person that I could reach out to was my faculty, my father, or my peers who were successful in the industry. And that's what actually brought me to this point of starting this company 4 years back, where through the power of technology and human interaction, we bring them together. How do we empower a graduate of India? There are 35 million graduates passing out every year, and one baby is born in India every 1 minute. So just imagine what happens when they enter college after 18 years from today. So all of these things really inspired me a lot to bring in the best of the minds who are active managers working in the corporate world day in day out. They're actually part of the ever growing trend. They're the one managing P&Ls. They're the one who are going through that exercise of running their families. So we have those active people together with us. And what we do is coming back to what the agenda of this particular discussion is. We've got some fantastic universities in India, and I think it's clearly one of the most diversified and the most agile education system in the world, because I'm part of this education system. I learn a lot and I attend a lot of workshops. But I think India is very fast in approaching new trends and approaching new, say, industry 4 led kind of initiatives. And also, we really take a lot of risks in trying new things out from the education standpoint. And I firmly believe that because in COVID, especially, there is a lot of stress in the households. We have access to a lot of researches. I would love to share whenever you all want the researches. There's a lot of stress in the common man households in India where parents have no clue how will their daughter or son lead in their careers, whether it's entrepreneurship, engineering, medical, MBA, whatever, whatsoever. There's a lot of stress. But at the same time, there's a lot of opportunities as well in the market. If we just look at the figures, about 47% of technical and highly skilled graduates are still getting employed in India, which is a great sign. It is slightly increasing year by year, but because of the pandemic, it's kind of become a little hazy in order to be conclusive. At the same time, the 5,500 MBA universities, colleges, just 93% of them, the graduates, end up getting jobs. But the reason for that is because not that they're not getting good education. I think they're getting some fantastic global education in India. It's just that they're not aware of how to take that first step and enter into their corporate careers. So that's where there is a big opportunity, like Mr. Coover said, that there needs to be a natural handhold, like a natural fitment from the corporate world with the universities. And like Aditya also mentioned, what is that final session? What is that final outcome that we are looking at? That is where the big synergy needs to happen, and it is already happening. Like Dr. Aris Babu also said, there is some great research happening not only at university level, but then there are some fantastic edtech companies also out there who are trying to find various ways on how to take the youth forward and trying to make them more employable and trying to get them more settled in their careers. There's a lot of action happening, and India is actually leading from the front globally. US is after India, Europe is now after India. On what are you guys up to? So it's a great time to be in India in the university space and edtech space, and it's just that I think there is a big opportunity for universities and the corporates to fine tune the understanding more, because there's a lot of talent at the university level. We speak to students day in, day out, and we work with many universities in India. And trust me when I say that there's some great talent sitting in Indian universities. It's just that they want to know from the horse's mouth that once I am doing this course in the first semester till the sixth semester, what do you think I should do in order to be more successful in the first step that I take towards starting my career? So that is something which we're also working on, because we customize the expectation of the university and the student in the course curriculum. So we're already doing that. We are binding corporate world already in the first semester with the student, so that he understands that this is the great education that I'm getting from my faculties, from my universities. This is the best infrastructure possible. And also they're also helping me understand what a successful manager is managing day in, day out in his career. Do I want to go that route, or do I want to be beyond what he's doing? So that's a big synergy opportunity that I see, Aditya, right now going forward, especially after the COVID going away.
Arunam, do you see, particularly after COVID-19, the entire concept of mentorship being supercharged? One of the interesting points that we have seen is that earlier there was this old style, and as you mentioned, this the concept of mentor was whoever's near you, right? Whether it's your faculty, your parents, your father's best friend who works in X company, blah, blah, blah. And you were limited to the networks that you found in your locality and region. How do you see a post COVID-19 world where, earlier young people were willing to open and be mentored by a wider audience, but now the comfort level of a lot of very high placed mentors also to use technology?
Yes, so Aditya, great question. It's just that that traditional model should exist and should continue to exist. There's nothing wrong in it, because, of course, you feel much more comfortable the moment you have access to a successful uncle or a successful chacha or chachi, whosoever in the extended family system in India, and that's our strength, the extended family systems. That's great. That should continue. It's just that now the youth, especially 18 to 22 years old, we have a lot of access to research and data, They are overloaded with information because of the smartphone in their hand, overloaded with information. As in, there is a research which says that right the moment a student starts his classes in whatever courses he has begun, the first thing that he Googles is what is the best package CTC that I can expect out of getting graduated by doing this course in the market. Now that is the wrong guidance that the student is getting, because Google is not human. Google is algorithm. It will pull out even the top benefits of smoking for you if you just write on Google, right? So that's the wrong starting point, unfortunately, that the students have access to. But nevertheless, we are in the digital age, so we have to get used to it. So this is where they should also be empowered by speaking to the horse's mouth, one on one, that this is what I'm doing, where are the scope, where are the opportunities, how do you think I can do what you have done, you've gone through the same grind, and how can I take the best out of my education that I'm getting from the great college that I'm studying in. So these are the kind of, say, mixes that are going to happen, and that's already happening, because whether we like it or not, our next generation have access to internet, they're doing whatever they want to do with their smartphone. We can't check that at all, and they're getting overloaded with information. So there is a saying that over analysis leads to paralysis. So that's the starting point, and this is where we need to be, as the stakeholders of education system, we need to guide them that, okay, you have this, great, but you should also be speaking to the horse's mouth. Ask him how has he done it. It will give you a different perspective altogether, and then you can take slightly better decisions than where you are today, because it's not just about getting the maximum CTC. It's about being happy doing what you're doing, and the right career path you've chosen, that's more sustainable than a short term, say, salary take home, which we're seeing a lot of changes happening. And
Wonderful.
like Dr. Rupa also mentioned, um, it's great to see that innovation is happening at the university level. It starts from the universities. That's the environment that the students are getting in India today, which is fantastic. And just one more thing I would like to mention, that the Ivy, the inverted commas, the Ivy leagues, they already have, Aditya, this mentorship platform. They handle it themselves. It's their alumni using their technology and hand holding their students. But what about the non Ivy League? That's the major populace in India. That's where the real talent is lying. And that's where we need to take the onus on our shoulders to empower them from bottom to up.
Thank you so much, Roma. And I think that's a, a chronic problem which I always have. We have wonderful panelists like this, and everyone here is doing amazing, amazing things in their universities, in their colleges. But we represent the very 1% of education institutions in India. There's the 99% of education institutions which are struggling all across, either a limitation of faculty, resources, thinking, ability to really transform themselves. And while all of us, it's very comfortable for us to talk about the amazing work that we are doing here. But until we get it down to the last citizen of India, the last resident, the last community member, our work will never be done. Dr. Sharma, very warm welcome. Thank you so much for making it. Would love to hear your introductory remarks, 3 to 5 minutes, on where do you see the greatest trends or challenges in skilling and technology in India. Please, over to you, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Aditya ji. In fact, first of all, I'm really sorry I joined late, but I got the opportunity to listen to Dr. Rupa and Verma ji. And in fact, while I was listening, I was reflecting. As a universities, we are traditional and modern. We are conservative and progressive. We are inclusive and exclusive. We are innovative and defensive, and in the process we create a ring face around our institutions, and we built up defenses that actually makes us interact with the external demands of society, economy, and others from the perspective that we see, and we take what we want to. But while we are engaging with the ecosystem, because pandemic has taught us that over the period of time we engaged heavily with the needs of the knowledge economy, but
the needs of the society on ethicality, on equality, on access, on justice had to be percolated inside. There is an inherent need of students to achieve success, and that's why they come to the institution, that they would get the critical knowledge that would make them hands on to succeed in the career they pursue. But in the process, universities are giving back to the society and the country a holistic human being, which is having the skills to get employment or pursue entrepreneurship, but at the same time needs value to make him a sound citizen. So, if corporates, if you look at, they want a sound individual who is happy, who is self content, who has a progressive vision, who wants a longer journey, and can be an asset in the long process, has a learning aptitude. So, this has to be done while they do. We are doing a very small experiment. We have created 4 workshops. Every student who studies with us has to go through 4 workshops during the course of study. One is they must go through a workshop called kitchen. They must cook their own food. They should learn healthy food. They must learn to make those food. Kitchen. They must spend 100 hours. They must figure out. They are helped with what kind of diet they should have to remain healthy. The second is basic maintenance. Wherever you live, whatever you do, you should know how to do plumbing, how to do electrical jobs, how to do vehicle maintenance, small, small skills. That is a value addition which opens up their perspective of a good life. The third thing is health. They have to engage in yoga and whatever they want as a fitness. They have to engage. And the last thing is design. Everything has to have a design element. So these 4 are added on to the curriculum. So every student who goes through not only becomes critical competent. Now, when we were defining this critical competence, we said we are engaging with the industry. So, in automobile engineering, in my university, Suzuki Motors, we have put up a automobile assembly line. So, cars are assembled by students. You don't have to go to the factory. And the workshop is mapped with the factory premises. It starts at the same time the factory starts. It breaks are at the same time. So they get a holistic view of how the working environment is. For marine engineering, a full working ship is on the campus. So when we talk about critical competence, it has to be hands-on. It is said that I was listening to Rupaji, and I totally agree that our degrees over the period of time are going to be expected rather than desired. World will say, we know what your degree gives to a student. But if you want to make it desired, what the corporate actually wants, or the organization or the country or society wants, you have to bring those elements in the curriculum where their quality of internships, the type of hands-on learning they are getting, the type of different engagements they are being given to, which brings skills to them, which opens them up into the world of innovation and their adaptability of challenging situations. And that would what make a recruiter, or even as individual is pursuing an entrepreneur, the chance that he would be successful in what he does and would be long lasting
Yeah.
increases drastically. So my initial reflection is that universities have to, because we are tremendous social assets. We are the engines of social transformation and economic transformation. And that realization within the ecosystem of people who are driving it is very important and critical. So they are the ones who percolate it down to the entire ecosystem and become role model in the process. And there is no harm that if any university which incubates a very strong proposition around it, shares it with other universities, there is no question of competition. It's all about holistic evolution, because if you are doing the right thing, students of every intensity would come to you only. So that's how a holistic view of skilling, reskilling, upskilling, but encircled with value propositions are very important in the overall contribution in this domain. So these are my reflections, Aditya ji, in a nutshell. and you give me 4 minutes, and I restrict myself there. So this is
Dr.
my
Thank you so
thought.
much. Uh, Thank you so much. And one of the I think the very amazing things which is not covered enough is we talk about industry skilling, but very little about self and life skilling. And I love those four basic workshops that and I think reflecting on my own journey, I went to as an undergrad to Stanford when I was 17. It was a complete change in life skills that were required in the first couple of months. And then I look at our graduates from most Indian colleges 5-10 years on, they still haven't gotten the basic life skills that perhaps you would learn in the first 1 month if you were sort of you know sent halfway across the world. And I think bringing that into the formal curriculum more and more as a structured mechanism. All of us do it in some way or the other. I think is an excellent point that we have to continue. If I could go back to Dr. Nuba Singh, ma'am, one of the big things that India has to solve for, and we always struggle between quality and quantity. When I am, meeting my counterparts in the U.S., they say, "Look, we need to hire 5,000 engineers." And they said, well, where can you hire 5,000 engineers? And the joke is that if the director of HR can hire 100 engineers in the US, there's a party, there's a celebration. Oh my God, you managed to hire 100 engineers. But our directors of HR here have said, no, you have to hire 4,000 5,000 engineers. And India is the only country left in the world where you can realistically do that. How do we sustain this? How do we balance quality on quantity on skills, and how do we sustain a high talent pipeline?
Well, very, very important issue here to be addressed, especially on sustaining the quality. Um, we talk about innovation, we talk about skilling students with this, skills that are needed. We talk about innovation, but we believe that innovation is everyone's business. It's not just for the technical communication. And to do that, especially focusing on the point that you said, it's very important that we bring in the curiosity, the research part in our academic environment. What I mean to say is, it's not just the dissemination of knowledge. It's not just imparting certain skills to students. It's the way leadership established, I would say, establishing research leadership, research quality and performance culture in the pedagogy itself, so that international, not just companies but also scholars, seek to collaborate with our faculty, seek to hire our students, seek to come to Indian institution, because it should be known as a research network. So how do we do that? If we have to see in a day-to-day students, I would say, learning delivery program, incorporate experiential learning as the principal methodology, create very deep student engagement when it comes to, I would say, research focus, by, let's say, creating seminar style courses, encouraging students to discuss, to debate, to develop their own insights, to develop their own questions or pose research questions, rather than a different kind of pedagogy that we have. So, if we look at contributing in further the environment of a rigorous pedagogy, rigorous, I would say, creation of new knowledge by enabling certain methodologies or framework, I think it will inform. It will really be very good or beneficial for students.
Wonderful, Dr. Singh.
Yeah,
So I am getting hold high standards, make sure everything we do is rigorous, don't drop the ball on that. And,
yeah.
and, and if we can make sure our students get that elevated experience, we will able to keep the quality high. And, implicit in what you're saying is that the quantity anyway is there. We just have to.
Quantity is there. It's just that, because we talk about academia and industry, but actually, if you see, there is a gap. So what we believe is, if I can say, the Toyota principle of Genchi Genbutsu, that means employing the implying the importance of seeing things firsthand. So students have to see it firsthand by actually researching it, by questioning it, not just by learning it in the classroom. And that's very important, as again Toyota says, chi, or the wisdom of experience, to imbibe the mindset and the values that they learn in classroom. So that's why experiential and research enabled learning is very important to
Thank you,
focus on
Dr.
the
Singh.
quality.
Yeah, I think Aditya's screen is frozen.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. So, Dr. Anubha, why don't you please conclude जो आप कह रहे थे?
Yes, why not? So, what we need to do is having a very sustained approach or relationship, as that was the question that Aditya asked. Started with that because every institution, every Indian institution is focusing on doing so many things to make sure that we contribute in a very impactful way, not just to the industry, but to the society, but to our country, to solve the real world situation. And which means that there are four key questions that need to be answered. Could a university, for example, draw a global company to its campus, not just for occasional visits, but as a sustained presence? Would this company or these companies provide opportunities to become actual, not just employees but researchers solving the problems of 21st century? And if so, what would it make for such a company to place itself at the heart of institutional campuses in India, what we have in West? And finally, how could we structure such a close-knit, sustainable, and mutually beneficial relationship? So these are some of the key questions that we need to answer. And I would request, since Aditya is not here, for others to throw a little bit of insight on these key questions.
Yeah, Dr. Baba, will you like to uh, say something on what Dr.
Definitely,
Anubhav? Yeah.
definitely. I think what we are discussing is the creating capabilities among the students. Ultimately, everything will boil down to students and faculty. How we can make them capable. I actually normally use two words. Instead of talking about what knowledge you give to these students, we have to empower them and enable them. Empowering with whatever is available at the moment and enabling them to be capable of reskilling themselves, de-learning, relearning, and being capable of learning any technology in the world. Now, I would like to add another word of caution. What is happening? Some time ago, I think Dr. Aditya mentioned about school education. I don't know, the experience of different people is different. Fortunately, I have students from all 28 states of India. And there are students who come after plus two with 90% marks who do not have proficiency even in one language. And I'm sure many of my friends will agree that if you look at the first year result of engineering, majority of the students fail in only one subject, and that is mathematics. Now, this is the ground reality. Whether we want to close our eyes or it's okay, fine with us, but otherwise, this is a ground reality. What is the reason for this? The reason, some friend mentioned here, to create curiosity in the mind of the student. How can we create curiosity in the mind of the student when whatever he or she wants to read doesn't understand? These students are not proficient even in their mother tongue, not to talk of English and Hindi. And NDP 2020, to my mind, if properly implemented, is going to revolutionize the things. And I have a couple of suggestions which I think can go to the those who are policymakers. When we are teaching the students for first 4 years, three languages and arithmetic, mathematics as they call it, because the new word is numeracy, the word coined, and which I love it. I love it. I think is been coined for the first time, and that's going to make real difference. Now, the English language books can be used to expose the students to scientific ideas without actually telling whether it's biology or physics or chemistry or whatever. For example, mobile phone is being used by a 6 month old student. And I'm sorry to say, which textbook in a school even mentions about a mobile phone? Does anywhere mobile technology occurs? Anywhere, in any textbook. Every student in 11th and 12th will drive a motorbike, whether you like it or not. Even if the license is not there, we parents will hand over a scooter. Is there any mention in any textbook of any technology being used in a scooter or a motorcycle? Students are crazy about cars. Is there any textbook where you have mentioned the parts of a car which can fascinate the mind of the student? How will the curiosity come? Curiosity will not come by teaching them computer science, engineering, or physics or chemistry or whatever. It will come from whatever is happening around us, and that happening around us is given them in a simple manner. Like we try to give them something about religion. Of course, we should discuss with them the great people and great achievements of those scientists. But at the same time, let us create curiosity in their minds. I normally use the word, which may look crude, to put their mind on fire. If
Dr.
you
Baba,
can put the mind of young people on fire, I think they can do wonders.
thank
So
you so much,
same
Dr.
thing need to be done in the universities. And we experimented, we experimented in a small way. And that experiment, and I'll finish in 1 minute. That experiment was that in every subject in the university, we introduced a compulsory paper on innovations and inventions. Innovations and inventions. Say, for example, innovations and inventions in computer science, innovation and inventions in biotechnology, innovation and inventions in pharmacy. Starting with what was the first computer like and how the things have changed. A small one credit course, which is compulsory for all the students of a particular branch. We found that this gave quite a fillip to the original thinking of the students. Thinking out of the box is possible only you know what is inside the box. Every time Newton
Nice one.
formula cannot be done. I mean,
I think we'll.
accidental innovation is not acceptable. Innovation has to be destined, determined, and focused. And it can be done only you put the students thoroughly inside the box, let them know what is inside the box, and let them understand it. Thank
Dr.
you so
Baba,
much.
absolutely. And the only thing I said that instead of thinking outside the box, I often say you have to stand on top of the box, build on the shoulder of giants, rather than try to throw the box out itself. I know we're very
Absolutely,
short on
absolutely.
time, and my internet is spotty, so I'm presuming Sri Vijendra is sort of moderating in my steed, if that's so can speak. Sir, but a quick question for you, and if you just a minute or two, please, for each, so I can get your full round in. There are a lot of people who have been saying in the past that there has to be a segregation from the creation of knowledge and from skilling, and that's been something that has been there in India earlier, where you said, okay, here are the research universities which are responsible for research and creation and industry, etc. And then once they've done the research, they will transfer it to a vocational or these professional universities or colleges which are sort of teaching there. And I think the NEP also a little bit, perhaps not very elegantly, tries to push those in many ways. What are your thoughts on that? Creation of knowledge separated from just pure play vocational professional teaching.
You see,
Uh,
what I feel is,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
am
please.
I supposed to speak?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, okay. What I feel is that, you
Dr.
see,
Baba, that was addressed to Mr. Sri Vijendra.
sorry,
Sorry.
sorry, please go ahead. Please
A
go ahead.
quick
Please
round.
go ahead.
Okay, no, I was enjoying what Dr. Baba was telling, and as
Mhm.
time is less, I wish that I should learn more than speaking. First of all, let me compliment Dr. Mahendra Sharma. You are doing a wonderful job,
Yeah.
and I would like to visit sometime and see that what you are doing over there with those 4 labs. As
Yes.
Aditya, you have asked this wonderful question. Generally, it happens we say knowledge, skills, they are separate. I always say there are 3 H in our body: head, heart, and mind. heart, and hand, and they cannot be separated. The head creates knowledge, it is life skills is heart, and application of that knowledge is hand. And none of them can survive without each other. So they are very much integrated. They are part of a complete ecosystem. We cannot say that somebody will create knowledge, somebody will give skills. And you will appreciate, and I believe I must have mentioned earlier also during some of our interactions, I was shocked and surprised when a skill development university ministry was made in India. And maybe I was the first one who wrote to the Prime Minister that you are doing a mistake. It should be an integral part of our Ministry of Education, of HRD. We do not
Mm.
need a university which will talk about skills only. Like it is somewhere we are doing something wrong. So that has to be seen, and I'm really happy that such platforms as we have today, and otherwise also maximum of the universities today, they are not only talking about creation of knowledge, they are talking about skilling, unskilling, reskilling, upskilling with the help of industry. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Aruna. And I think all of us are on different parts of the spectrum. I certainly buy into what you're saying fully, that you cannot have the creation of knowledge separated from the application of it. And I think this is something historically India we've sort of messed up, and I hope in the future that combination continues. Dr. Rupa, I'm going to go, and I think this might be something that you know. Uh, 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 is such a powerful takeaway from your conversation. So I'm going to come back to this. How do we create that attitude that you so eloquently spoke about? How do we create that attitude for learning? And especially since I had mentioned that, we get a lot of raw material coming in. Dr. Baba plainly put it, that, forget about multiple languages. Many of our students coming in perhaps are not even fluent in a single language, so to speak. Would love to get your thoughts on it. And I'm seeing Neha coming up, so we probably have a couple of minutes on the clock. You, Dr. Rupa.
Yes, thank you so much, Aditya ji. So, we are a huge nation, and we are complex in several different aspects. And we have, I think, the largest university systems in the world. We have more than 8 million graduates passing out from our country every year, and that makes our issues in terms of the education, the GER, the quality, the quantity, etc. More digressed, and probably the matter or point of discussions, and it makes it more complex all the way. But the reality is, we are living in a digital first world right now. And especially after Corona, it's not that after COVID we've changed to digitalized version of everything. We were toying with the ideas of flipped classrooms, LMSs, etc., even 15 years ago. But then now the reality has really become the digital first world. Now, what we need to teach every generation is, when I say attitude, is how to learn, how to unlearn, and how to relearn very quickly, almost instantaneously. So that these are the kind of workforce which will transform the future of work than kind of be transformed by it, because there is also that possibility. We as educationists, enablers of education, as influencers, as social leaders, we have a huge responsibility to prepare this youth, channelize this generation of young adults. Just now, Professor Baba was telling ki 11th May they are riding a bike, and a 6 month old is already having a mobile phone. Then they're far ahead of times in terms of technology, creativity, expression.
Got it, Doctor.
We have to arm them with courage, humility, wisdom, and values. I think we have to go to that level more than the core knowledge aspects. We have to handhold them to take the lead of a movement that stands for a positive change and
Absolutely, Dr. Rupa.
productive activities.
I think, Neha, we're just hitting on time. I want
Yeah.
to thank all of our esteemed panelists. I think a very riveting discussion. We've covered so much, and I'm always deeply grateful when our panelists are honest, speak from the heart, are very genuine. One of the sad parts, which I see in many conferences, is the same buzzwords being rotated again and again. And I was very delighted to see sort of the in-depth and very focused discussion that we were able to have today. Thank you so much, and over to you, Neha.
So, before coming to an end, let us have a look at the informative video by Intercell Virtual Mentor Network.
हम सब के लिए बीते साल कठिन थे और अब ये नया वायरस, लेकिन समय एक सा नहीं होता। इतिहास गवाह है इस बात का। We need to remain optimistic about the future, especially our younger generation who are pursuing university education, जो हमारा future है। आजकल टेक्नोलॉजी एडवांसेस एंड अ फास्ट चेंजिंग जॉब मार्केट में स्टूडेंट्स और पेरेंट्स दोनों को बहुत कंफ्यूज कर दिया है। आप कहां पढ़ेंगे, इंडिया या अब्रॉड? आप क्या पढ़ेंगे? शुड यू फोकस ऑन लर्निंग और स्किल डेवलपमेंट? आपके लिए कौन सा प्रोफेशनल फील्ड बेस्ट है? एंड व्हाट इज द राइट करियर पाथ फॉर यू इन दिस सिचुएशन ऑफ कोविड? द आंसर इज इंटरसेल, अपनी तरह का पहला वर्चुअल नेटवर्क फॉर मेंटरिंग द यूथ ऑफ इंडिया। ये नेटवर्क आपको एक्सेस देगा टू ग्लोबल इंडस्ट्री एक्सपर्ट्स एंड प्रोफेशनल्स हु कैन गाइड यू टुवर्ड्स योर ड्रीम करियर। कौन सा कोर्स, कौन सा करियर आपकी पर्सनैलिटी और एप्टीट्यूड के लिए है? आप जॉब मार्केट में कैसे सफल हो सकते हैं? हाउ यू शुड प्रिपेयर फॉर योर इंटरव्यू एंड आंसर्स टू मेनी अदर सच क्वेश्चंस। हम देश भर की यूनिवर्सिटीज के साथ हाथ जोड़ रहे हैं। कम टू इंटरसेल, अब सब होंगे कामयाब। जय हिंद।
So we are at the end, and thank you all for taking time from your busy schedule and joining for this particular panel discussion and making it a great success. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Nice to meet you all. We'll be in touch. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.